The first few migrants have finally boarded the government's Bibby Stockholm barge after weeks of delay. Its capacity is now 500 people, and that's more than double the 222 it was originally designed to hold. But there are concerns that the boat could be a health and safety disaster, dubbed the floating Grenfell. All the occupants will be single and all will be male. We're going to go to our correspondent in Portland, Victoria Innes, very shortly. But first of all, let's speak to the Mayor of Portland, Carralyn Parkes. Carralyn, thank you for joining me on the programme. So there we have the first people boarding the Bibby Stockholm. And what are your thoughts, and what are the thoughts of people living in the area?
I think it's awful. It's absolutely awful that our government in the 21st century is considering housing asylum seekers on a barge in Portland Port. It's wholly unsuitable.
Explain to us why, because all we can see behind our reporter is this beautiful view, and it looks tranquil, it looks gorgeous, and I wonder why you're saying it's unsuitable.
I think I'm talking about the accommodation rather than the view. The views on Portland are fabulous, as you say, but the actual accommodation itself is very small. You have to go in and out of airport-style security. There are security fences around the barge. You can't move on and off it as freely as the government are claiming that you can. You have to be bussed in and out of the port because it's a secure area, and it has to be a secure area. The bedrooms are small. You're talking about people who were originally supposed to be housed in these rooms between 3 and 6 months, now being housed in them for up to 9 months. I measured the rooms, 3 of them at least, and they averaged out at 10 feet by 12 feet. The mattresses are 6 feet long, so if you're a tall person, you've got a problem. They're obviously clearly made for one person. And as you quite rightly said in your introduction there, you're talking about there being more than double that number on board the boat.
So it's interesting, Carralyn, because I think some people, when I said I'm going to be speaking to the Mayor of Portland on the programme, might have thought that you would be saying, we don't want the boat here, we're concerned about 500 people hanging around with nothing at all to do, we're worried about our residents, instead of which you seem to be worried about the asylum seekers and those people, the migrants who will fetch up on the Bibby Stockholm. You seem to be more concerned about them. Is that your paramount concern? You feel that they're going to be maltreated and somehow, you know, not given the right sort of reception, whereas you're not concerned about the people who live in Portland?
My concerns have been crystal clear from the outset. I'm concerned about human beings. I'm concerned that our infrastructure on Portland isn't fit to accommodate an extra 500 people. It's bursting at the seams. And I'm also concerned about human beings. These are asylum seekers. I'm concerned about them too. I think one of the things that was nice to see today were people who created, Portland people who created care packages for asylum seekers. So I think really what my message is one of humanity, the humanity of the asylum seekers and the humanity of the people of Portland.
When you say that you are, you know, concerned because these are human beings and you feel that they are not going to be properly, I'm putting words into your mouth here, but properly cared for. They're going to be crowded in to a cramped space. You've described how small the accommodation is. It concerns you.
They are.
And then you say you don't feel there's sufficient infrastructure in Portland to look after them or accommodate them properly. What does it lack? What do you not have in Portland that you feel you need for 500 people?
Well, we don't have a hospital for one. We don't have a minor injuries unit. We have one road on and one road off Portland. So if anything happens to that, you've got a problem. If there had been any consultation at all done by the Home Office prior to this decision, just how unsuitable Portland is as a place to put a facility like this would have been crystal clear and obvious. But they didn't. They had private discussions with Portland Port. They made a decision. They've thrown it at the statutory authorities like Dorset Council, the police, the health service, and they've said, you go and make that work now. And they didn't consult with the community. So the Home Office have behaved appallingly throughout the whole of this process.
And you don't feel that this essentially boils down, even though you're being incredibly benevolent in the way that you're presenting this, and even though
I'm
it's
just
quite
being humane.
okay, humane. It's quite clear that you're being humane. You care about people, you care about individuals, you care about human beings. That's crystal clear. So what I'm about to say would imply that I'm being critical. I'm not, though. What I'm saying is, you know, you don't think it's that Portland is suitable. Is it not true that pretty much any mayor of any area in this country at all that's coastal, therefore you could have a barge nearby, would have excellent reasons, quite similar to yours, for saying it definitely shouldn't be here, this is absolutely the wrong place? You know, if you'd asked our residents, if you'd taken the time and trouble, we would explain why we haven't got the right infrastructure, this isn't the right place for 500 men all crammed into one barge. I'm wondering whether there's anywhere there where the mayor would say, yes, we welcome this barge, we're thrilled to bits, we think this is the perfect place to moor a barge like this with 500 asylum seekers on it.
I can't speak for any other mayors. It's up to other mayors to make their own decisions and to say what they think. I can say I think it's unsuitable, and I think one of the things that's telling in this is that the only port in the country that's agreed to have one of these barges is Portland Port. Peel ports in Liverpool declined, so did the Port of London. There's a whole list of other ports that declined to have a barge moored in their port. So I think that kind of says everything that you need to know.
Is it true, though, that Portland Port's being paid an awful lot of money to do this?
Nobody knows how much Portland Port's being paid. There's been estimates made by some journalists on how much the port are being paid, and the estimates are around about $2.5 million. But yes. I don't know how much they're being paid. I can't say for sure how much they're being paid. But they're doing it because it's a business. That's why they're doing it.
Well, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for expressing the reservations very clearly, and as you quite rightly say, in a very humane manner. Good to have you on the programme.